Following renewed clashes in the Strait of Hormuz and drone threats targeting Gulf nations, the US-Iran ceasefire is becoming shakier with every passing day. Iran has threatened heavy attacks on US bases if its tankers are targeted. However, Iran has finally sent its response to the US proposal aimed at ending the more than 2-month-long war. According to Iran's state news agency, the proposal that is sent to Pakistan today will only focus on ending the war in West Asia. Here's a report.
Tensions in West Asia are on the rise. Gulf states are under fire again. A truce designed to pause fighting is under growing strain. And Iran does not seem to be slowing down. Iran's leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, held a meeting with the country's military chief and gave him new guiding measures to pursue military operations and firmly confront adversaries. Drones and missiles have hit several targets in the Gulf, marking a severe escalation in regional tensions. Tehran has issued a brief warning to the US that it would no longer hold back from retaliatory strikes. The UAE says its air defenses intercepted 2 Iranian drones. Kuwait reported a similar drone attack. It says a number of hostile drones were dealt with over its airspace. Kuwait did not specify where the drones originated from. A drone hit a cargo vessel in Qatari waters as well. Qatar's defense ministry says that the drone caused a fire aboard the ship, but no injuries were reported. As tensions flare in the Gulf, new satellite imagery appears to show a significant oil spill spreading through the Persian Gulf from Iran's Karg Island, the country's most critical crude export terminal. But Iran has denied reports of any such spill. According to Iranian state media, the country's oil terminal company rejected reports of oil spillage in the island, saying inspections found no evidence of leaks. On the diplomatic front, Iran has sent its response to a US proposal aimed at ending the ongoing war. According to Iran's state news agency, the IRNA, at the present stage, the negotiations will only focus on ending the war in West Asia. Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, says Tehran will never bow its head before the enemy, and added that negotiations do not mean surrender or retreat. While the ceasefire has been underway for weeks, the situation remains tense. Drones and missiles are still flying over West Asian airspace. Bureau Report, WION. World is One.
Mr. James Marlow is a foreign and defense analyst and also a West Asia analyst. Is now joining us live from London. Mr. Marlow, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for your time and for joining us at this hour. What do you think is going to happen in the Strait of Hormuz situation, given that there was an oil spillage in the Karg Island and Iran has denied any responsibility on that? What do you think is going to be the situation in the Strait of Hormuz going forward?
Well, it's interesting. In the last few days, we've actually seen the biggest flare-up in the Strait of Hormuz since the ceasefire was actually declared 1 month ago. Last Friday, of course, the UAE announced that it was being hit by Iranian rockets. This morning, as your report just said, Kuwait also said that they were attacked. At least they went into the airspace of Kuwait, attacked drones that they were. And of course, it is very, very tense, as you say. As I understand it, the United States are still waiting to hear whether Iran is willing to now sit down and start talking what they describe as peace negotiations. But according to the reports and according to what we are hearing from Iran is they're still holding by that hard line attitude towards America, that we're not going to bow down to pressure. And of course that we know that Iran still wishes to enrich uranium. We know that it still wishes to continue its building of ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles. And we also know that it still hates Israel and wants to see Israel gone. So I don't really see a way forward for this.
Well, Mr. James Marlow, I was just about to ask you about the situation in the Gulf countries. Why do you think Bahrain and the UAE are in the crosshairs of Iran, and Iran continues to issue threats against these two nations.
And it's not just those two nations, as you know. I mean, they hit around 14 or 15 different countries when they first started up, including, by the way, Qatar and Turkey. Qatar and Turkey are well known and actually on their side simply because they host and they back the leaders of Hamas. So questions were being asked as to why Iran would fire missiles towards Turkey and Qatar. Now, it's true that they haven't done that recently, but nevertheless, this is a nation that many people, many nations, many intelligence agencies believed that it was on the brink of getting atomic weapons. It said so itself. It said that it had enough enriched uranium to build 11 atomic bombs. And we see, in the words of Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, if this is what Iran does without nuclear weapons, what is it going to do with nuclear weapons? And I still feel that their objective is to go for nuclear weapons. Now, they're very patient. They're willing to sit it out. They know that this American administration has been in power for almost 2 years. That means it's got another 2 years to go. Maybe the Democrats will win in 2.5 years' time or so. And that means they're still sitting there in power, and they're patient, and they could start up the process again. Remember, we heard 15 years ago, 20 years ago, many prime ministers and presidents saying, and I'm quoting, "We will not allow Iran to get nuclear weapons," unquote. And yet they just kick the can down the road, allowing another government and another leader or leaders to take responsibility. Donald Trump is trying to take responsibility, but of course he is unpopular with some of his voters and some of the Republican Party. Nevertheless, he still has a lot of support from the MAGA side of the Republican Party. But this could go on for some time, and it's very tense in the Middle East, I have to say. When you're booking flights to go towards Israel or the UAE or Bahrain, you don't know if the flight is going to get there or not, because this could flare up at any moment, and that means flights will be diverted or stopped or changed as well. So it's very difficult to make bookings, and I speak from personal experience.
Well, Mr. James Marlow, it's good to see you. We'll have to end this discussion here and see what happens in the next 1 week or so. As you say, there could be an escalation. Let's just wait for President Trump to speak. Marlow, thank you.
Thank you.